that light.
Irmin, Mody, and Jeanette Newman.
She wants you to dim
Just the two of us is all.
Can't dim the light. Oh, you want to dim the light?
All right. Are we seeing in there?
No, just talk.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, you're being monitored.
Oh, you're
So-
not taking film?
So what can you tell us about Grandpa coming over from the old country? Why did you decide to do it?
Why did he decide to do it?
Yeah.
Because he had to come here to live with his brother to go to work.
But
Brother is Abraham, right? His brother's name, no, Moda.
He told us the whole story on the tapes you gave us for Christmas.
not really.
When he worked on the corners selling magazines and guys would beat him up.
Oh, but he came here. Why did his brother? Why did they come here? His brother
I think
came
they
here.
all started coming then. His brother had been here. His brother had been here.
His brother had been here.
Yeah, so his mother, Aunt Mary and Grandpa came together, right?
I don't know. What's
Yeah.
his name? Mary Abraham?
And Mary Abraham.
And Pa came together.
Uh-huh. And then
Mary came from Fulton, don't forget that.
they went through Ellis Island. Oh, they went through Ellis Island. You
Antonia.
put their name down, right? And they went through Ellis Island, and the guy in front of Grandpa says, Abraham, Abraham, Abraham. So they got to Grandpa. He says, Abraham. That's how he got his name, Abraham. But his brother's name is Moda. So, of course, this town knows they got changed. So he came, lived with his brother. Right, Irmin?
I guess,
Went
yeah.
went to work in Utica, and because he couldn't speak English, his brother sent him to work, and the guys pounded him up every day. You know, it was like
Why?
the Spaniard, the Mexican being here. You know, they don't speak English.
Well, you're in their territory selling newspapers. He'd set up on a corner. They'd come around and beat him up.
Did he have a father? We always hear about his mother. Did he have a father?
Neither
His
one
father
of them.
died.
He never saw one of them after
No.
he came.
I know, but-
Grandpa had died. His father had died before he came over, and his mother stayed there. And Mr. Corey, remember Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Funny guy.
Ghost man.
He took care of Grandma, and she slept in a hut. He always told Grandpa she slept in a hut, and the kids took care of her. She never had any electricity or anything. Went to church every day, and then down the road she was going to come here, and Grandpa paid the money for her to come. Right? They had the restaurant, and
Never came.
the priest came from Lebanon and said, "No, they live too far away from the church. You don't want to come." So she wouldn't come. So he never saw her after he
Did
came.
he send money back?
He supported her all his life. And they would say, she's got a donkey, or
I need a
jagged
donkey.
donkey. So Grandpa sent money for a donkey. Well, then they said, we gotta have money for food for the donkey. So he doesn't know what happened to it. So,
But
What was life like back there before he came here? Does he ever say about what it was like in Lebanon?
No, he was 14 years old, wasn't he?
yeah.
They
Corey's,
walked every place, no vehicle, just walked every place they went, and somewhere a while they'd ride a donkey.
after Corey's came here and Grandpa got friendly with Mr. Corey, and then he was happy because Mr. Corey took care of Grandma. And the boy, and some young boy died in Lebanon, and Grandma had such a bad time with this young boy dying. She had a heart attack and she died. Until Mr. Corey told the boys, you know, this is his mother. Oh my God, they couldn't believe it. They had taken care of her whenever she needed anything. But we have no idea how. Well, she was old because you got the picture.
Yeah, I got a picture of her.
You know, that's
Right.
your picture, that
Right.
old. Yeah,
Well, she's 90-something, what they said?
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
And those are the only two kids?
3. Aunt Mary from Fulton, the brother in Utica.
Oh. Okay.
Did they ever talk about being, was there any prejudice against them because they were Catholic in Lebanon?
I don't know.
No.
Never.
Why, that's a,
In those days they
they're all
didn't
Catholics over there.
do that. I don't think they had that. Do
Because
they?
these Catholic priests come here, from over
Well,
there.
I think that there were some people came for religious reasons to
No.
get away.
Then Grandma Mody came here. Why?
Because Grandpa used to come here, and then he'd go back and forth.
Let me go back and forth.
He'd go to Lebanon, and he'd come back to Utica.
Who
to
would?
work. My Judah, my mother's father.
Just
Oh.
a sign.
Oh, okay.
Okay, he'd come here, and then fool around and work, and then he'd go back to Lebanon, get my grandmother pregnant, come back. Then all of a sudden, after she had all those kids, she brought them all over here and lived with Grandpa.
And how did Grandpa Mody meet her?
I don't know. Do you know, Barbara?
I don't know.
Down-
The olive story. The olive story.
Oh, the Olives, they were at Mary
That's
and
not
my
how-
mother
that's not how they met.
and Uncle George and Grandpa were crazy after the two sisters, and so they'd go someplace and meet and they'd hide, and Grandma sent her for olives. And she carried the bag of olives in her arm, and the bag broke, and all the way she dropped all the olives all the way home.
And so Grandpa helped her pick up the olives?
I don't think so.
She was walking with him.
He run.
She was walking with him, all excited that she was talking with him. She wasn't supposed to be with him, and all the olives fell out of the bag, and she didn't
Grandpa
realize
Salim
it.
wouldn't let her meet with him.
No.
She'd have to do it on the sneak.
Well, and Mary and Uncle George eloped. Because Grandpa didn't allow it.
But Grandpa had to wait till she was 16,
Well,
correct?
The what?
maybe till she was 16. They got married
Seems
she
old.
got married at 19,
But then he have to...
They went together since she was 14.
Right.
but they snuck.
Huh?
They snuck out,
Yeah, they used to sneak out.
yeah. You know, and Mary and Grandma had a good voice. And Grandma, they used to go on the stage.
Hold on.
They used to go on the stage in Utica when they had parties, and Aunt Mary and Grandma used to sing.
Lebanese songs.
Oh, probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they had good times together.
And well, they got married when though? What year?
What?
What year did they get married?
I have no idea. They were married 57 years when Grandpa died, so you go back.
Well, he
Grandpa
was
died
81.
So
He
you go
died
back
81.
57, that's 24 years.
1924 years?
24.
Oh, wait a minute.
1924.
Wait a minute. I
Yeah,
was
in
born.
1924.
I was born in 26. Lila was born in 25. They were married in 24.
And I was born in 30.
Right. And they, there was no resistance to this wedding?
No what?
Resistance? Nobody...
No, Grandpa hired limos, didn't he, or something to take him to the wedding. They had a big wedding.
What was, what were they doing then for work? I mean,
I think they
Worked in
moved
the
in the
knitting
mill. They both, maybe that's how they met. Do you know, Irmin?
In the knitting mill? I don't know how they did meet.
I don't know. They might have met at, I don't know. You know, can't remember.
Or it could have been at some gathering. I mean,
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
living
that's
in
all
it.
they did years ago. We used to go up there to the hall, the Lebanese hall, and John Harp used to come and, well, it's not,
They used to have
where
the
you're in there,
houses.
Lisa,
John Harp used to come and get
we
us
went to an
to
old
the
fashioned
party.
wedding. Your
when we were young.
aunt, this woman,
Yeah.
she don't have.
and so when they,
She sang for 45 minutes.
so how, so that from 14, when was Grandma Mody born?
Wasn't Grandma Mody what?
When was Grandma Mody born? What year?
Well, she died, she was 89 when she died. And she died 11 years, she died in 95.
So
You
she
figure
was
it out.
So 1906?
I don't figure,
That would be
So she was 18 when they got married.
19. But she might have been 18.
Well, it might have been in kind of the
Yeah.
birthdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they had the date for. You met him when he was 14, so it was 5 years in there
Mhm.
that they had the court. So he had to wait a long time then before he could marry her, right?
Yeah, must be,
Because of work or because her father wouldn't let her.
because he wouldn't let her. Did Mom work in the mill at that age?
Back then, that's an old maid not being
I
married.
don't know what Mom did.
But I'll tell you, when Grandma worked in the mill, she was the best winder. That's what she did. She did winding.
My grandma, Mom.
Yeah,
Excuse me, Mom.
their grandmother, yeah. She made more money than she was so fast. She made more money.
Bigger
than-
fingers.
They paid her by how much she wound. What did they
Yeah.
wind?
Yeah, she
Piecework.
was on piecework. She wound, what do you call them? The thread, the spinners?
The spinners, I don't know.
That's what
Did
they
they
call
get
them.
treated poorly in the factories? Because they were the immigrants?
No, we got treated poorly in the quarter. So the quarter people.
But you were living in
outside-
Utica at the time.
No, we lived in Sherburne.
Sherburne. They moved when I was 6 months old.
I
Or
know,
3
but when
months
they
old.
met, they were living in
Oh, I
Utica.
don't know. Yeah, they lived in Utica then.
But no stories
I
about
can't-
being mistreated or...
Yeah. I don't know, because the Lebanese people all stayed together, so they probably weren't mistreated. It was like the Cubans come over,
They all get in
set
one
up their own
community.
little place. Probably the Lebanese all came over and stayed by themselves.
And what they do for fun usually.
They went to the Lebanese hall, they had better times than you'll ever have.
They used to have
Parties.
Lebanese picnics every weekend.
They used to
What
come and
they
get
call the
us.
Hufflas, the big family picnic.
People used to share food, I'm assuming. They would grow food and everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to
Jenny-
go on picnics, family picnics every Sunday. The Lewises and the Modys, the Murray used to get down here to the river every Sunday.
Where in the river?
They called it the
Hole.
girls' hole, the
Oh,
blue hole,
behind
the
the
boys'
factory?
hole. That's what they called them.
Yeah.
Those were the names.
Yeah. And Grandma, Grandpa and Uncle George used to go and catch fish, and they'd light a fire and they'd clean the fish. The ladies would pick dandelions, and we would eat
And they moved to Sherburne because of the mill
because
work.
of work. Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
want to move here? Or it's a lot smaller than the city.
They probably had no choice. They probably found work here and came.
Well, the knitting mill was here.
Right.
Yeah.
The mill that got built, they needed help.
Now, how did they end up with all that property?
The mills,
I mean-
we lived in mill houses, and then they were selling all the mill houses to individuals, and Barley's, where Grandma lived, wanted to sell that house, and so Grandma and Grandpa bought it. And
But
they-
that came with all that land out back. It's
Yeah.
more land than anybody in
well, that was
Sherburne
a
had.
farm. That was a farmland.
But how did they buy it?
What do you mean? What do you mean how?
Oh, with money.
What were they
I
getting
mean,
money?
that's as much land as anybody in the village of Sherburne had,
Probably
right?
didn't cost much in those days.
I went to the bank and got a mortgage, just like you would
Well, yeah,
today.
but realize they never had a car or anything, right? And they never went anyplace. Where did people
But
go?
I thought that you guys didn't have any money to like barely eat with and stuff growing
When
up.
they lived in Utica, when they came to Sherburne, they were better
Oh.
off. Because they made good money in the
Used to
mill.
have outhouses outside.
Well,
I
that was
went there
everybody.
one day, I still got the scars on my leg where I had, Harps had a dog tied to the outhouse and the dog bit me right there. I still got the scars.
We used to have to,
I said, that was a common thing, Lisa, everybody, it wasn't just,
we had to carry the
They used to have outside
outside.
cesspools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, you guys had that was the largest piece of property in the city, probably that
Because-
somebody owned.
They bought it to put a restaurant on there for Irmin, right? After
Well,
they
are you
bought
saying-
it.
are you saying that you didn't own the
Vegetables and
fields
strawberries
before?
and all that for years. I worked my butt off and
I know, but before that, I'm just saying, when did they buy? They bought the house. Did
In
they buy-
45, they
the
bought
land came with the house. Barley's were farming it.
big farmers.
He's just saying that you guys were poor immigrants working in a mill. How'd you afford to
In
buy?
Utica,
Well, they
more
saved
than
their
in
money.
the quarter. In the quarter, people worked and didn't go anyplace, so they saved their money.
and it was
Never heard of
piecework,
a
and you work as
vacation.
hard as you want. If you
Just
work
like
real hard,
Lewis's,
you had money.
Lewis's restaurant.
Yeah, they never did anything. That was the thing in life. On the 4th of July, Grandma and Grandpa lived in the mill houses. We never went anyplace. All the relatives from Sherburne took turns to come. All the relatives from Utica took turns to come to Sherburne to Grandma and Grandpa's for the 4th of July. Lila and I used to work like H.
That was a long trip them days.
Yeah, Grandma would cook the whole weekend and be thrilled to cook for all these men and their wives that came. Remember
Bohannas.
Bohannas?
Bohannas used to come. They were good friends
Yeah.
with the Bohannas.
Well, then they had Asma Mody's brother, Pete, lived with them for a while in
Yeah.
Sherburne, and Uncle Albert. Mody.
George Deep, Mafia was after him. Grandpa hid him for years.
George Deep. The mafia was after George Deep.
I
The,
don't
the guy, the
know.
cop in town.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, my
Owed him
grandpa,
money.
well, he lived in Utica. I don't know, he did something, the Mafia, and Grandma, he lived with Grandma and Grandpa, they hit him.
Is that right? I can't remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty dangerous.
Yep.
Well,
Wonder what ever happened to his wife.
we never had any problem. George, I don't know.
Never